What's going on YouTube? So beside me is a flagship luxury SUV. And this is not just any flagship luxury SUV. This is the flagship luxury SUV from Japan. This is the LX 600, slotted to go head to head against big rivals like the Cadillac Escalade, Lincoln Navigator, and Infiniti QX80. But I have a question for you guys. Is this LX 600 better than those other products? I'm here at the Chicago Auto Show and we're about to find out. All right, so as always, we'll start out with the exterior design. That's a very important part for any big luxury SUV because it has to be big and in your face. Now, this particular LX 600 is the F Sport, which of course is something that they didn't offer on the previous Lexus LX. And I'm happy to see that they have offered it on this, especially with competition like the Escalade Sport that kind of blacks everything out and gives it a really cool vibe. So let's break down some of the design elements here. We have a big grille. Look how big it is compared to my head. This is a big grille. That's of course something that you need here. It's going to be Lexus's signature spindle grille, but here for F Sport duty, it's going to be fully blacked out. We have some really cool designs here with the shapes that they've done. And then along the outside edges, it is traced in a black chrome. Now, coming around to our headlights here, these are going to be your Lexus signature triple beam LED headlights. I assume these are going to be standard equipment on every single LX 600. However, we haven't done a full review of this vehicle yet, so hopefully in the next few weeks or months we will have a full review covering every single bit of information about this LX 600 as far as the trim structure and such. Now, another thing I do want to point out, if we come down through here, you will notice that even outside of the grille has been blackened out for the F Sport duty, and we also have this piece right here that kind of looks like an air intake. And let's talk about your wheel options for this LX 600. So these right here are 22-inch gray finish alloys, and I really like the way these look. These are the standard option for the F Sport model. Now there are other options that you can get. Of course, if you go for that ultra luxury model, it's going to have some chrome wheels to give you more pizzazz. However, I do like this design. Now, if we raise up here, you will notice for the F Sport, we have body color moldings around the arches, as well as some F Sport branding. As far as our mirrors are concerned, I assume these are fully loaded. They're going to be power folding, auto dimming. They have turn signal indicators, as well as blind spot monitoring. Now, unlike a lot of its rivals, this LX 600 is going to share a platform with the Land Cruiser as well as the Toyota Sequoia. So there really will not be an extended wheelbase version of this, and this is going to be smaller than some of the competition, which you will notice when we get into the inside in terms of like the third row space. I also want to point out that you have fixed running boards instead of power running boards that a lot of the competitors do offer. Now, coming around to the rear design, of course, this is all new for the LX 600, and I really do like the design here. They've done a great job with it. I know the trailer's kind of getting a little bit in the way here since we're hooked up to that, but let's break down some of the elements. We have an exposed wiper right here. We have a spoiler up top, and then our taillights are going to have a really nice design. These are going to be full LED taillights. They have a lot of three-dimensional elements going through here, and they are full length. And then you have Lexus spelled out on the back, which is a new element that we're seeing on the newest Lexus products like the NX that you see over there. Now, dropping down, we have LX 600, and then for the lower area, you will notice that we do not have any exposed exhaust outlets, but we do have this black rugged trim. All right, let's hop in this large luxury SUV. Of course, the interior is a very important part about anything in this segment because this is where you're going to be spending all of your time in just complete opulence. So let's break down some of the design elements going on. I'll start out first by talking about the material quality for this all-new LX 600. So across the upper dashboard, we do have a soft touch plastic. I am kind of surprised to see that it's not a leatherette, but it's a soft touch plastic with stitching injected in, or stitching inside of it. And then dropping down, we do have a leatherette at this part of the dashboard, as well as going down into the glove box area. And then we have some more soft leatherette through here, as well as along the center tunnel. Now, as far as other elements that I want to talk about, you're probably noticing that we have a lot of different technology in this LX 600, which definitely has been improved over the previous generation. I'll start with the gauge design. All right, so I gave Drew a second to hop in here. Let's talk about your gauge cluster design. This is an 8-inch gauge cluster. Of course, it is going to have some digital elements, which is nice. The previous LX model did not have that, so that brings it into, modern standards in terms of tech. And then here's your steering wheel. I love the steering wheel design. It's absolutely an awesome, you have perforation on this side, It's double contrast stitching. I assume maybe on the higher end models you would get real leather through here as well. And then for the door trim, we have a really nice door trim. It's going to be leather padded for most of it, and then you do also have a leather door grab, which I really am a big fan of. We're also going to have 3-person memory seating for the driver here. And then coming down to our interior storage, of course, that's important for a large luxury SUV. As you can see, you do have that pretty neat trick of opening on both sides. That's kind of a party trick going on here. And this particular model is going to have the cool box in here, so you can have a refrigerator. We can refrigerate our coupons, so that's pretty nice. I like that element. Then we're also going to have a big wireless phone charger right here in the middle, followed by your shifter. I do like how they've made everything pretty symmetrical going on in here. However, there's really not a ton of additional space to put stuff besides for right here in the very front. Now, of course, you're going to have heated and ventilated seats. They're also going to be automatic, as well as a heated steering wheel. And then let's come up to all of this area. You're going to have some buttons for your off-road controls. Of course, this LX 600 is a very off-road capable vehicle, being based on the Land Cruiser. Now, as far as this, let's talk about some of the displays. We have a 7-inch display right here, and then a 12.3-inch display up at the top. So they have separated out kind of like Infinity's older design, and this is going to mainly control your climate controls as well as other functions. And then you have this area up here, which is going to be your main Lexus head infotainment system. You will also have Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto. So I actually powered the vehicle on so you can see what this screen looks like. You have a lot of different functions here that you can go between, mainly just your off-road settings as well as your climate controls. And then here's the gauge cluster, which just powered on, so you can see what that looks like as well. Then coming up here, we do have an auto-dimming mirror, HomeLink remotes as well. We're gonna have a really nice headliner. It's not gonna be like a suede, but it is a very soft fabric. We're gonna have a standard size moonroof though. I would really love for them to see a panoramic moonroof added, but that is not on this model. All right, and here we are in the second row of the LX 600. Of course, this is going to be a little bit smaller than some of its rivals back here, and we are also going to have bench seating instead of the captain's chairs that a lot of them do give you. Now, as far as some of the features, we have rear window sunshades over here. Then in the center, you'll notice that we do have vents. That's a nice touch. I also like just the design in general that they've thrown in here. We also have 4-zone climate control, which is a really nice touch, as well as heated and ventilated rear seats. So that's pretty awesome feature to see. It's still pretty rare on any vehicle to have ventilated rear seats. Of course, if you go for the ultra luxury, you can also throw in a few extra goodies in this rear area to give you kind of executive level seating. So in order to fold the seat up, you just push that one lever. It's going to be pretty much the same setup as what you have in the current generation LX. And then getting back here, I almost fell over here. There's a hole in the middle seat. You only have 2 seats. That's something worth noting. You have 2 kind of bucket seats. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but not 3-person seating for the back. And as far as just the space back here, this is of course going to be worse than something like an Escalade. It's a body-on-frame traditional SUV. You don't have that independent rear suspension that a lot of those models have, so your thigh support is going to be lacking. However, it is pretty decent overall. And let's talk about the powertrain and what powers this flagship luxury SUV. Now, you're going to have a 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6, which of course is a departure from the previous generation LX, which had that big 5.7-liter gas-sucking V8. So this is going to come a little bit more into the modern century here with a V6 engine. It's going to have 419 horsepower, 479 pound-feet of torque. So this is certainly going to be a pretty quick option for the segment. Now, as far as the fuel economy, that's going to be improved vastly over the previous generation model, which I think was sitting at 13 or 14 miles per gallon combined. So that's definitely going to save you at the pump when you buy this LX 600. Now, if you're curious about when this is going to be available, this is actually in production already, so you can get one of these at your local Lexus dealer. You might have low availability, at least here at the beginning of the production, because of the chip shortage. However, I expect that you will be able to find these at your dealer in the next month or two pretty commonly. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel already, we would really appreciate that. Also, follow us on TikTok as well as Instagram, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.